The Sumerian King List, scale, a fragmented clay tablet discovered in the 19th century, presents a unique and perplexing artifact of ancient Mesopotamian history, offering a meticulously detailed genealogy of rulers stretching back to a mythical age before the flood. This list, however, isn't a simple chronicle. It's a curated and often baffling account that blends incredible longevity claims for early kings with more realistic reign lengths for rulers closer to known historical periods. The question of whether the CL should be interpreted as a serious historical record, a symbolic representation of Mesopotamian kingship, or a mythological creation is a source of ongoing debate among historians, archaeologists, and Assyriologists. Understanding the CL requires delving into the broader context of Sumerian culture, religion, and the evolving concept of kingship in Mesopotamia. Sumer, located in southern Mesopotamia, modern-day Iraq, was one of the earliest known civilizations, flourishing from the 4th to the 3rd millennium BC. The Sumerians developed complex systems of irrigation, agriculture, and urban planning, and they were pioneers in writing, mathematics, and astronomy. Kingship emerged as a central feature of Sumerian society, with rulers believed to be divinely appointed and responsible for maintaining order and prosperity. The concept of kingship was deeply intertwined with religious beliefs, and kings often served as intermediaries between the gods and the people. The CL is not a singular document. Rather, it exists in several fragmentary copies, dating to different periods between the late 3rd and early 2nd millennia BC. The most complete and well-known version is from the Old Babylonian period, 1900–1600 BC, but earlier fragments suggest that the list was compiled and revised over centuries. These copies provide varying degrees of detail and sometimes contradict each other regarding reign lengths and the order of kings. The CL is divided into several sections, typically categorizing rulers into dynasties or periods. The earliest portion lists the divine kings who reigned for impossibly long periods, often exceeding tens of thousands of years. These kings, such as Alulim, Kisharula, and Enlil, are considered mythical figures who are said to have descended from the gods and brought civilization to humanity. Their incredible reign lengths are often interpreted as symbolic representations of their divine origins and their power to transcend human limitations. Following the divine kings, the CL lists the antediluvians, rulers who reigned before the great flood that devastated Mesopotamia. These kings are also attributed with extremely long reign lengths, although slightly less extravagant than those of the divine kings. The flood is a significant event in Mesopotamian mythology, symbolizing a period of destruction and renewal. After the flood, the CL lists the post-diluvian rulers, whose reign lengths become increasingly more realistic and align more closely with archaeological and historical evidence. The names of these kings are often associated with known Sumerian city-states, such as Uruk, Kish, and Ur. Some of these post-diluvian kings, such as Gilgamesh of Uruk, are also featured in other Mesopotamian texts, providing some corroboration for their existence. However, even within the post-diluvian section, there are discrepancies and inconsistencies in reign lengths and the order of kings. One of the most intriguing aspects of the CL is its concluding section, which lists the rulers of Isin and its successor states in the 2nd millennium BC. These rulers are generally well attested in other historical sources, providing strong evidence that the CL does contain valuable historical information. The question of whether the CL should be regarded as a literal historical record has been debated by scholars for centuries. One common interpretation is that the SCL is primarily a symbolic representation of Mesopotamian kingship, intended to legitimize the authority of the current ruler by linking him to a long and illustrious lineage. The incredibly long reign lengths of the early kings may be seen as symbolic representations of their divine origins and their power to transcend human limitations. According to this view, The sale is not meant to be taken literally, but rather as a statement of the ideal of kingship and the continuity of Mesopotamian civilization. Another interpretation is that the scale is a combination of historical record and mythological creation. The early portions of the list, with their exaggerated reign lengths, may be considered mythological embellishments added to the more historically grounded accounts of the post-Diluvian rulers. According to this view, the CL attempts to reconcile the divine origins of kingship with the realities of historical succession. Recent scholarship has emphasized the importance of understanding the CL within the broader context of Mesopotamian royal ideology. Royal lists, such as the CL, were often used to create a narrative of legitimacy and to reinforce the authority of the ruling dynasty. The CL may have been compiled and revised by scribes who were responsible for maintaining the royal archives and promoting the interests of the ruling dynasty. The inconsistencies and discrepancies in the CL may be attributed to the evolving nature of the list and the attempts by different scribes to reconcile conflicting accounts. Archaeological discoveries in recent decades have shed new light on the historical context of the CL and have helped to corroborate some of its claims. For example, the discovery of inscriptions and tablets that mention some of the kings listed in the CL has provided evidence for their existence. However, the incredibly long reign lengths of the early kings remain a major challenge for historians and archaeologists. One possibility is that these reign lengths are symbolic representations of the king's power and influence, rather than literal measurements of time. Another possibility is that the reign lengths were deliberately exaggerated to enhance the prestige of the kings and to legitimize their rule. It is also possible that the reign lengths were based on a different system of timekeeping than the one used by modern historians. The Sumerian King List remains a complex and enigmatic artifact, offering valuable insights into the history, culture, and ideology of ancient Mesopotamia. While the incredibly long reign lengths of the early kings may never be fully explained, the CL continues to fascinate and challenge scholars from around the world. Further research and new discoveries may eventually shed more light on the true nature and purpose of this remarkable document.